Good day, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the general form of a line and how to work with it. We will also be looking at rearranging equations. Finally, I'm putting back the Google Forms at the end of each video where you have to answer 3 words. Today's words are going to be focused on superhero movies, primarily of the Marvel genre. So let's get started. General form, as you can see, is written out as ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. The a, b, and c values, they have to be whole numbers, positive for a and whole numbers for everything else. Typically we see this as being equal to 0, although occasionally others will write it moving the c to the other side. We do see this in the textbook every once in a while. So let's just look at how to graph using this form. So to graph using general form, what we need to do is calculate the x and y intercepts. And of course we all know that for the x-intercept at that point, y is equal to 0. And for the y-intercept, x is equal to 0. So we're going to use that kind of an idea to be able to plot 2 points, one on each axis, and then draw our line through the axis, or through the 2 points. So we will begin by setting up an example here. I'm going to draw a table right underneath, and I'm going to show a limited amount of algebra to be able to explain how I'm doing this. Again, in green, I've got it equal to 0. In purple, I've shown you how it might be equal to the c value. So for the x-intercept, as we said, we know y is 0. So I replace the y with the 0, which effectively just kind of covers it up or gets rid of it. It allows me then to solve for x. So I know that my x-intercept on this graph is going to be at 6, 0. I use the same approach for the y-intercept, but I let the x value equal 0, which means I just get rid of the 2x in this equation. I end up with 0, -4 on the y-axis. I plot my 2 points, I draw my line. Let's look at another example. Suppose I have 3x plus 4y plus 6 is equal to 0. I go again about working with my table. I'm going to show a little bit less this time. So for the x-intercept, we just get rid of the y piece. For the y-intercept, we just get rid of the x piece. We solve each one, we get -2, 0 for the x, and 0, it's about -1.5. Hard to draw on the graph, but we are able to manage. But you have to be very precise with your points, otherwise it's very easy to throw your line off. Using algebra, please note, we could take this, if we didn't like it, we could take it and rearrange the equation as I'm doing down below. We could then take that, and I'm marking off some purple dots approximately where it would be using my -3/4 slope. So that's how we go about using the table form or the xy intercept form to be able to draw a graph. What I want to look at now is how to actually change from one form into the other. Because ultimately, we're all going to develop our own favorite method of working with things. My personal favorite is the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So to change something into slope-intercept form, we want to make the equation equal y. To change it into general form, we want to make the equation equal to 0. So here's an example of changing y equals mx plus b into general form. Step 1. I don't want fractions. I can't have fractions. I multiply everything by 3. Step 2. I move the 3y over to the other side, and then it's all equal to 0. I'm able to put the 3y wherever I want it, so I choose to put it in the middle because it's supposed to look like ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. My second example. This time I'm going to take a general form equation and convert it into a slope-intercept form equation. Again, slope-intercept form is equal to y, so effectively what I want to do is keep the y where it is, move everything else over to the other side. In this case here, I also have to divide by 4 in order to get the y totally by itself. Example 3, writing the equation of a line. We might be asked to write the equation of a line in point-slope form, slope-intercept form, or general form, depending on information we're given. So in order to do this, we need to know for sure two things. We need to know at least the slope of the line. We also need to know the point that it passes through. So here I've used the slope formula to calculate the slope of this particular line. I'm now using the point slope form to start out our equation. I just chose the point 6, 6. I could have chosen the other point. And I'm now rearranging it so that I end up with slope-intercept form. So I can start in point slope form and then move to slope-intercept form. Once I've got slope-intercept form, I can then take that and rearrange it to get into general form. I do always have to go through the sequence of steps in that order. Point slope, slope, general. So what I've effectively done then is I've started with an equation and I've rewritten it in 3 different forms, and they're all exactly identical. These are all the same equation. I've got some homework for you on page 384. And I also said that we're going to have 3 words today, and I've decided to put all 3 of your words at the end of my video, which is right now. Some of you got lucky and just skipped to the end of the video, I know. But our 3 movies in order are number 1, Thor: The Dark World, number 2, Captain America: Winter Soldier, and number 3, Avengers: Age of Ultron. These were all the second movies in those series. Have fun with your homework.